The massive German engine sat silent in the middle of the factory floor like a fallen giant. Its polished steel blades reflected the bright daylight pouring through the enormous glass windows, while some of the most brilliant engineers in the world stood around it with defeated expressions. Millions of dollars had already been spent. Weeks of testing had failed. Experts from prestigious universities, including MIT, had exhausted every possible solution. The company was losing nearly $1 million every day the machine remained inactive. What nobody expected was that the person who would solve the impossible problem wasn't a famous engineer, a celebrated scientist, or a wealthy executive. It was a tired single father working the night shift. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Luxury Life Stories. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories like this one to life. Ethan Mercer was 38 years old and lived in a small house on the edge of town with his 9-year-old daughter, Ava. Every morning began before sunrise. He prepared breakfast, packed lunches, helped Ava get ready for school, and then rushed to his job as a maintenance technician at a large industrial facility. Life had not been easy since his wife passed away 4 years earlier. He carried the weight of raising his daughter alone while struggling to pay bills and keep food on the table. Yet despite the hardships, Ethan never complained. He simply kept moving forward, one day at a time. The facility where Ethan worked had recently acquired a revolutionary German turbine engine valued at nearly $5 million. The machine was expected to transform the company's operations and secure contracts worth hundreds of millions. But shortly after installation, disaster struck. The engine repeatedly shut down during testing. Advanced sensors detected abnormalities, but no one could determine the source. Teams of elite engineers flew in from around the world. Specialists spent countless hours studying blueprints, running simulations, and replacing components. Nothing worked. As the weeks passed, pressure mounted. Executives grew anxious. Investors demanded answers. Newspapers began reporting on the expensive failure. Inside the factory, frustration filled the air. Every attempt ended with the same result. The giant engine would start, run briefly, and then abruptly stop. Ethan watched quietly from the sidelines. Unlike the visiting experts, Ethan had spent nearly 2 decades repairing machines of every kind. He wasn't famous. He didn't have advanced degrees hanging on his wall. What he possessed was something different. He understood machines the way musicians understand melodies. He listened to sounds others ignored. He noticed patterns hidden beneath layers of complexity. One afternoon, while cleaning equipment nearby, Ethan overheard another failed test. The disappointment on everyone's faces reminded him of the difficult nights after his wife had died, when giving up seemed easier than continuing. Yet he had learned something during those painful years. Sometimes the answer wasn't found by looking harder. Sometimes it came from looking differently. Over the next several days, Ethan studied the engine whenever he had spare moments. He reviewed maintenance logs during lunch breaks. He examined vibration reports after his shifts ended. Most people assumed he was simply curious. No one imagined he was searching for the solution. Then one evening, something caught his attention. The engine's failures appeared random, but Ethan noticed a tiny inconsistency hidden deep within hundreds of pages of data. A specific vibration pattern appeared just moments before every shutdown. The fluctuation was so small that sophisticated software categorized it as insignificant noise. Yet Ethan's instincts told him otherwise. That night, after dropping Ava at a neighbor's house, Ethan returned to the facility. The factory was quiet under the bright daytime-style industrial lighting that illuminated the production floor around the clock. With permission from a supervisor who had little hope left anyway, Ethan began inspecting the turbine himself. Hour after hour passed. He crawled through maintenance access points. He checked connections. He measured tolerances. He reviewed technical schematics spread across a workbench. Midnight came and went. Most of the building stood empty. Then, just before dawn, Ethan found it. Deep inside the engine assembly, a microscopic alignment issue existed between 2 interconnected components. The defect was so small that it escaped advanced diagnostics. During operation, thermal expansion caused a slight shift that triggered protective shutdown systems. The problem wasn't a failed part. It wasn't faulty software. It was a tiny mechanical imperfection almost invisible to the naked eye. Carefully and methodically, Ethan made the necessary adjustments. As sunlight filled the sky outside, he prepared the engine for another test. The next morning, executives, engineers, and technicians gathered once more around the machine. Few expected anything different. After all, the world's brightest minds had already tried everything. The engine roared to life. Everyone watched the monitoring screens. 1 minute passed. Then 5. Then 10. The vibration warnings never appeared. Temperatures remained stable. Performance exceeded expectations. For the first time since arriving from Germany, the engine operated flawlessly. Silence filled the room before it erupted into disbelief and celebration. Engineers reviewed the data repeatedly, searching for mistakes. There were none. The impossible problem had finally been solved. And it had been solved by a single father who simply refused to quit. News of Ethan's achievement spread quickly throughout the company. Executives who had never spoken to him before suddenly knew his name. The same experts who had struggled for weeks openly praised his insight and determination. But the moment Ethan treasured most happened later that evening when he picked up Ava from school. For years, his daughter had watched him work tirelessly, sacrifice endlessly, and carry responsibilities few people could imagine. Now she saw something different in his eyes. Pride. Confidence. Hope. The company rewarded Ethan with a promotion, financial security, and recognition he had never expected. Yet the true reward wasn't the money or the title. It was the reminder that ordinary people are capable of extraordinary things when they refuse to give up. As this story comes to an end, remember that success isn't always determined by degrees, titles, or reputation. Sometimes it belongs to those who quietly keep going when everyone else has lost faith. Sometimes the person overlooked by the world becomes the one who changes everything. Special request, comment below with the words, "Never give up," if you believe determination can overcome impossible odds. And if Ethan's journey touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to Luxury Life Stories for more emotional and inspiring stories. Because sometimes, the greatest heroes are not the people standing in the spotlight. They're the ones working quietly through the night, carrying hope when everyone else has already walked away.